Hello everyone, this is the second video for week 3. Continue with what we have discussed on the first part of the video for this week. We'll continue to explore how we can do different things about the list. So in this particular page, we're going to walk through working with part of the list. So we know in a list is a collection of different elements. In this particular example, I have players, which is 5 different names. We also know list started its index from 0. So the index for this particular list will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the list elements can be determined by using their indices. So it is very convenient for us to find partial list by using indices. For example, there are different ways to indicate the partial list. One way to do that is we have two integer numbers to indicate their indices and a colon in the middle within the square bracket. So the m is the starting index and the element actually chosen from the list will the index will from m and stop at n minus 1. So this is the same kind of rule as the range function there. So to help us better understand that, let's see a couple examples. For example, we know the player, it has 5 different elements, 5 names, and their indices are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So then the player square bracket 0 colon 2, which indicate the players with index 0, 1, 2 is the end of the this kind of the partial list, and the second the index 2 is actually not included in part of this partial list. Then we can see the player 0 column 2 will only return Charlie's and Martina, those two names. And we can do the same thing for player 1 colon 3. 1 colon 3, by looking there's 1, 2, and 3 is not included. There's Martina and Michael. So those are the two names for 1 colon 3. And 3 colon 5, that is another example. 3 colon 5. Okay, so we know that the index there's only from 0 to 4. But if we use 0 colon 4, it's going to include only the first 4 names. So to include the last one, we're going to use the index 5. So 3 to 5, but before 5, which is 3 and 4. That's Florence and Eli. So those are the four. Those are the 3 to 5. Those two names will show up. And sometimes if we only include the colon and another integer, which means this partial list actually start from the first element, which with index 0. And we can also omit the last integer, which will only have an integer and colon, there's nothing else, which means the end of this partial list is the last element. And we're going to show that if you want to refer to all the elements within a list, you can just use colon itself, which means you start from the first element to the last element, and then this means the entire list. And we can do this as well, like colon 2, which means it's 0 and 1. So that is right here. And this one's 3 colon nothing, which means with index 3 to the end of the list. And we can also use negative values. We're familiar with the negative values because we did a couple of those negative value index in week 2. So negative index means the last from. Like -1 means the last one, -2 means the second last one, -3 is the third last one. So we can use -3 colon, which means we will start from the third last one to the end of the list, which will be 3 different names. And we can also use -4 colon -2, which means it will be the starting index will be the fourth last one. In the particular one is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's from start from Martina. When it's end at -2. -2, the second from last, is right here. But remember, the second element here is not included, so there's only 2 names for -4 colon -2. So yeah, so that's basically a few different ways we can work with a partial list. And sometimes the partial list is a very important one for us to work with. So that's by using the indices, all different kind of starting and ending indices with a colon in between within the square bracket, you can do that. But remember, the last integer within that square bracket, which means it's not going to be included. So all the elements is from the index from m to n minus 1. Okay, now let's come to the next topic of copying a list. So copying list, that sometimes, for example, you create a list. In this particular case, we call list underscore 1. But sometimes you want to copy every element from list underscore 1 to another list. For example, I call that list with list underscore 2. To do that, we can actually use a simple sentence like this. We use the square bracket with only colon, which refer to the element from the beginning to the end, the entire list. And we're going to assign that entire list to list underscore 2, which means we copy the entire list of list 1 to list 2. And the list 2 and list 1 are 2 separate lists, are independent. So after we assign list 1 to list 2, and then you can do all different kind of operations. Like for example, list 1 is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, and I use that sentence, that line of code to indicate I'm going to kind of like copy the entire list of list underscore 1, which 1, 2, 3, 4, into list underscore 2. So I'll say that step 0, and I want to see what will be the output from list 1, list 2, which is as we expected, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then to ensure that list underscore 1 and list underscore 2 are fully independent. So when you do something to list underscore 1, nothing will be changed for list underscore 2 and vice versa. So now let's append an element A into list underscore 1. So one additional operation to list underscore 1. We know it's going to have 5 elements now for list underscore 1, but what happens will be for the list underscore 2. Let's look at it. We print out the list underscore 1 and list underscore 2, and as expected, list underscore 1 now has additional element, and there's the list underscore 2 is still the same. We do this one more step. We add in a element called B into list underscore 2, and then to what that happens. And then the list underscore 1 is still the same as 1, 2, 3, 4 A, and list underscore 2 become 1, 2, 3, 4 B. So indeed, list underscore 1 and list underscore 2 are 2 independent lists. We do some operation to list underscore 1, it's not going to be applied to list underscore 2. And then one very common mistakes when you want to copy a list, it is simply use list underscore 2 equal to list underscore 1. This is not copying the entire list to a new list. By doing that, you actually connect a connection between list underscore 2 and list underscore 1. And basically, there's still only one list. And but both list underscore 2 and list underscore 1 are referring to the same list. When you do some operation into list underscore 1, and it will automatically update the same operation to the original list, and when you see the list underscore 2, it will have the same operation. But fundamentally, list underscore 1 and list underscore 2 will refer to the same one list. To see what I really mean, let's go through the same steps that we did just a moment ago. So I create a list underscore 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I use this statement to connect list underscore 2 and list underscore 1. So after this step, let's see what is list underscore 1 and what list underscore 2. As we expected, they are the same, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now let's do the same operation. We append the fifth element into list underscore 1. Let's see what will be the difference. Okay, as expected, list underscore 1 is 5 element. Then what happens to list underscore 2? It's the same as 1, 2, 3, 4a. And even though we didn't do anything for list underscore 2, but it is automatically added to the element. The reason is because list underscore 2 and list underscore 1, by using this line of code, this statement, they are actually not copying the list. They're actually referring to the same list. They connect those two variable names. They connect together, but they refer to the same thing. And then we do this list underscore to append b, and let's see what will happen for list underscore 1. You're going to see that whether it's list underscore 1 or list underscore 2, they have the same content. Now the b is added to the list. So both actually are a valid Python statement, this one and this one, but they mean different things. And list underscore 2 equal to list underscore 1 with a square bracket and a column here, which means copying the entire list to list underscore 2, and then list underscore 2 and list underscore 1 are totally independent separate lists. However, list underscore 2 and list underscore 1, if we're using this statement, which only connect those two names to the same list, and they're connected together. And once you do an operation to one of those variables, it is automatically refreshed into the same list there. So that is fundamental difference for those two. And new Python learners are usually confused with those two. And I specifically created this example to let you know what will happen if you use this and you're going to use that. Okay, now let's come to the last topic for week 3, which is called tuple. And list and tuple are very similar, but there is some fundamental difference. List is a collection of elements, and you can change individual elements freely by using their indices. There are different ways you can change different elements within the list. Tuple, on the other hand, is a collection of elements that it cannot change its individual element once it is created. It's more like a permanent parameter, and once you create it, it's there. You cannot change each individual one. We define tuple by using parentheses, and when we define list, we use square bracket. To define tuple, we use parentheses, and we cannot modify individual elements once a tuple is created. But we can replace the entire tuple with a new one that is newly defined everything. But you cannot change each individual element one by one. And you can loop through a tuple similar as loop through a list, the same thing. But you just cannot change the element within tuple. So that is one example. So I create a tuple called a underscore tuple, and then there are four elements, and then I use the parentheses. I can print the whole tuple. I can print an element of the tuple by using the square bracket. Once a tuple is created, you can access each individual element by using the square bracket and the index. I can use the partial tuple by the same way as a partial list. I can replace the tuple by using a different kind of stuff. I noticed there's a typo here, but this a underscore tuple should be a underscore tuple here. Um, and there's something that when you want to repeat this one, remember to add a underscore here. The tuple can be used in a for loop. So this is a very simple for loop that I can loop through a tuple here. Tuple again is very similar to the list, but once it is defined, you cannot change its individual element. You can actually try to change the individual element by, like, for example, a underscore tuple square bracket 2 equal to something else, another new value like equal to 7, and then you're going to see the error message. You can actually try to see what the error message will be. So this is for tuple, a simple introduction of tuple, and we're going to definitely learn more about tuple in the future. Okay, now homework. Homework for this week is 3 points. It is going to be due at Sunday 11:49. So here is the homework. First, read through chapter 4 of the textbook. Second, type and run all the Python code in chapter 4 of the textbook with a Python notebook in your DataBrick Community Edition, and then save your notebook with code and run result into an HTML file and submit it to the college. The third task for the homework for week 3 is an additional one for business 523 students. At page 69 of the textbook, try it yourself 4-10 and 4-11. Finish all the steps in 4-10 and 4-11 the notebook in DataBrick Community Edition and save your notebook with code and result to HTML file and submit to eCollege. And please remember, for 523 students, please finish all 3 steps to get the full credit of 3 points. If you are a 423 student, you only need to do 1 and 2, the task 1 and task 2 here. Okay, thanks everybody. Hope you have enjoyed learning Python, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.